So, Krutat, you should have the link
Yeah,
now. Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Amrita.
Hi.
All
Hi.
good?
Yeah. Hi. Hi, Krutat. Hi, Raneem.
Hi, Amrita. You also look really good.
Hey, Amrita.
Hello. Krutat, seeing you after such a long time. Seeing your photo after such a long time.
Yeah.
So Amrita, we're already live on YouTube. The link is just going out right now.
Awesome. So I'll
Yeah.
just copy paste this link and send it to in the email as well. Okay.
Yeah.
But these guys have not joined. Should I send it now? What if people start joining?
That they anyway have because it's posted on the WhatsApp
Yeah,
group.
it's people. I think it's already live. So, yeah.
Okay. Email has been sent.
Yeah, email's perfect. All good.
Okay. So we are waiting for.
Yeah.
5 have joined. You know what I noticed when I was joining via my phone? My Zoom's picture quality was really nice, and it's
Okay.
blurry on the laptop for some reason. But it's okay.
Right. So you're on your laptop though.
That's what I'm on my laptop. I mean,
Right.
it's easier
Okay.
to switch for the questions and everything, right?
Right.
Hi, Francisco. It's connecting to audio.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, hi, Francisco. How's it going?
You guys hear me well?
We can hear you clearly. Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Super.
So nice to have you on board.
No, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here. I hope sharing some of the experiences help you guys out to have better experience.
Okay. So this is just a thought I had in my mind. Before we start the session, Vasil, let me know. Do you think we should share the script with our panelists? So like there are no surprises or anything? Or is it so, like it's okay? I mean, we're just going to ask you the generic questions, which all HEC incoming students are very excited to hear about internships and jobs and stuff.
Sure. I received a couple of questions. I don't know if I think it was you guys who sent me that. I don't know if it changed a bit, but it seems fine, the outlining.
Yeah.
But if you guys want to share something now, and the other question is, people who will be joining, they're already students, current students, or that will be joining in September and January next year?
September and January next year.
Okay, so future students.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So who do not know about the process and need your inputs for that.
Yeah, no, that's great. Just to know how much in detail do we go with the questions.
Yeah.
There are some generics they probably already know, but some others that can explain a bit. Hello, Kahan. Good to see you. You're on mute.
Karan, you're on mute.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Hey, ça va,
Hey,
Francisco?
Karan.
How's it going, man? Good to see you.
C'est bon, way. Yeah. How are you?
All good, all good. Here in Toulouse. Right. You're in
I'm in Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam. Okay, that's great.
Yeah. All right. By the way, thank you guys for organizing this. It's very lovely. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Karan. I mean, we've been talking for a while, but this is the first time we're actually meeting face to face. So
Yeah.
thank you for joining.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Hi.
Mute. Yeah.
All right. Hi. So, who else is joining? I think Abhishek is also here, right?
Abhishek has already joined, but he's on mute, I think. Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Abhishek.
Yes.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. It's
All
so awesome
good.
finally seeing you. Oh my God.
I don't know how this YouTube thing works. Sorry, this Zoom things works because it's blocked in all my office laptops, office phones. So I've been
Okay.
trying to find devices where I can make this work.
Okay. Okay. But thank you for taking that extra pain for us.
No worries.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
which batch are you guys from? Karan, have I met you?
No, I don't think so. What are you from the J? You're from the J19?
No, I left the campus in 2016. No, 2015
Oh wow.
Okay.
and
Okay.
okay, so you are from a much recent batch.
Yeah. I'm from the S17 intake. Wait, are you from the same intake as Johan?
Yes, I am.
Ah, okay. Yeah, Johan and I used to work back together in India. I literally,
Okay.
yeah, I met him like 2 days ago.
Okay. Are you in Amsterdam as well?
Yeah, I'm in Amsterdam. Yeah.
Okay, you're not sitting with your.
Well, I mean, to be honest, since coming here, I'd like smoked weed once.
Yeah,
I guess when
it's
it's
a
like,
first time hype.
yeah, I know, right? And so whenever I think when it's legal and available, you're just oh my God, okay. So
Yeah, I know.
instead, what we get, what I crave nowadays more than anything else is like slightly sunny days. And,
So I have as much sun as you can need. As you can see, it's very bright outside.
That's very good. Oh, nice. We have a rain weekend, so it's a good shit. Yeah. Where are you, by the way?
I am in La Défense, you know.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So you can see most of the offices you want to work for from here. I don't know if you can see them or not.
Yep, clearly. Cool.
So I live just next to La Défense.
Okay. Not there. Oh, I think you've frozen. Oh, there we go. All right.
So who else do we have online?
Francisco's here.
Hello, Abhishek.
Hello, Francisco.
I'm from the January 18 intake.
Okay.
We met with Kahan, so we had some classes together, and I think we spent a bit of time together during the MBA. Yeah.
So are you in Toulouse right now?
Yes, I'm in Toulouse. I'm currently working for Airbus, so yeah, located in Toulouse.
Yeah, I think I saw your profile in one of the emails. So when I saw Airbus, it's obviously Toulouse.
Yes. For aerospace, here is the hub in France.
Okay, that's nice.
Very jealous, by the way.
Right. Yeah, because
So,
Karan, you come from the aerospace industry as well. I remember we had a couple of chats, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You miss it a bit?
I miss it a lot.
even with the current situation, I think it's a great industry.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's down for some time, but it's definitely.
Yeah.
So.
All right, guys, it's really great to see you all, like hit the ground running. I mean, it's just been so smooth. And thank you again for joining us today. Amrita is going to start off the session now. So are we good to go? Yeah, great. Right.
Yes.
Thank you. Amrita?
Right, guys. So I'll let you know that more than 100 people registered for this session. And right now they're all in the YouTube live, watching us live. And it's very exciting to have all of you. I would like to start this session by saying a warm hello to everyone. Careers in technology are calling MBAs in ways they had not in the past. The MBA degree has grown more versatile over the years, and today, MBA grads perform jobs in finance, operations, sales, strategy, or business development roles in the tech industry. With that, I welcome everyone in the YouTube channel and our panelists to this round of roundtables. I, Amrita, and Wafir are your hosts for today, supported by Roshni, Atul, and Ranim behind the scenes. Let me introduce our esteemed panelists who have agreed to make our onwards journey a little bit easier. We have Abhishek Khanna with us, who is from the HEC MBA 2016 cohort. He's now a senior manager in the energy division of Schneider Electric. Francisco, he is a value architect for digital solutions at Airbus from the HEC 2019 cohort. And Karan Jain, who specializes in customer experience and is currently a project manager at Uber in Netherlands. So I would like to start with Abhishek, and then this is a question for all of you. Can you tell us exactly what your work right now is about and what your job role is about? Abhishek?
Okay, sure. So, hello everybody whom I cannot see, but I hope you are there live on YouTube channel. My name is Abhishek, and I joined HEC in September 2014. I finished my studies in December 15. I left the campus. So from January 2016, I've been working with Schneider Electric. So it's been close to 4.5, 5 years now. What I did for the first 3 years, I was in the corporate strategy of Schneider Electric. So basically, group level work on the overall strategy of the company and the stuff that comes with it. And after that, I have moved to a specialized division, which is called the Digital Energy Division. So I don't know if you guys know or not, but Schneider Electric is an energy management and an industrial automation company. So I'm on the energy management side, and I specialize now in the digital energy. Which, to put you in the terms that you can understand, is basically smart buildings scope, which is less than half of my scope, but this is what is more relatable for most of the people. And here we are a two-people strategy team. My boss sits in the US and I sit in France. And we look at the operational strategy and the growth outlook and the standard strategy profile. That's what I do here. It's interesting and it's I would say a very tech connected field because what we deal with is obviously everything that is digital in, around, and connected to the buildings. We also look at digital power. We also look at smart buildings and how they intermingle with each other, how they can go forward, how can the whole ecosystem um, exist, thrive. So basically, that is my scope of work.
Understood. Okay. Francisco, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So I'm working for Airbus. As you may know, Airbus is a very, very big company, so has a wide range of divisions, but I think the three main ones are the commercial aircraft, then defense and space, and services. I'm working in the services part. And basically, we have a special department there that has been created 2 years ago that is called Digital Growth and Innovation. And this department is basically working on collecting all the different initiatives, ideas, innovations within the company, and putting them through a funnel and basically investigating them into, let's say, three main characteristics. The first one is desirability. Second one is business viability. And the third one is the technical feasibility. And this is basically what we do in our department. I'm acting as a value architect. I know this name I tell to my boss, it's kind of a fancy name for business development. Basically, what we look at is the business viability, some partnership opportunities, and basically, we have a budget allocated each year, and the idea is that we mature these different ideas and innovations throughout the process, and we produce MVCs, minimum viable concepts, and also MVPs at the end, minimum viable products. And the idea is that we select the best ones of all of those, and we try to take them to industrialization. So I think this is what covers basically what I'm doing today.
Awesome, Francisco. Thank you. And Karan?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Karan. I work at Uber here in Amsterdam. So I work in Uber's European or EMEA headquarters, actually. And I think it's soon going to take over a lot of stuff in Asia Pacific, as well as Uber's footprint sort of reduces in that region. So my role is within one section of Uber. So Uber is divided into many different sections. One is the ops side, then you have business development, and yada, yada, yada. And you have community operations, which looks after service and interactions with customers. So I work in ComOps. And my role is a project manager within that within ComOps, and I work on strategic programs specifically within the domain of customer experience, or CX. And so my role basically works on improving and optimizing basically all aspects of the customer experience when we interact with customers. And in this case, our customers are end customers like you who use the app for Uber Eats or Uber Rides, but also internal customers like customer service agents, CX leads, regional managers, and basically anyone who has to deal with customers face to face. So, for example, things like if you have a question, if you as a rider or an eater have a question, you go to a customer service rep. What do they have to say? What is legally allowed? All of those things are part of the customer experience. And so part of my team looks at what we say, how we say it. And so my role has been in improving those experiences. So one of the projects that I'm working on is in completely creating localized playbooks for each region, because in the past everything was one size fits all. So this is the answer, this is how you say the answer, and there are cultural differences in communication. So those are the types of things that I look at, and I create personalized playbooks for each different region in how we speak to customers. So my background is in luxury, and I worked in a lot of really high-end brands. And in that industry, you focus a lot on customer experience and making sure that it's absolutely perfect down to the tiniest detail. And so that's the experience that Uber wanted to bring into this particular role. So I do at Uber.
Okay. But thank you to all of you for actually explaining what your job is all about, because there is some gray area for us to understand what it actually requires when you're on the job. I will take you back a few years when you were actually just passing out from HEC, and it kind of follows up. So you explain the kind of role in which you are right now. My question is, what kind of roles can MBA grads expect to find themselves in once they have specialized in strategy or operations or digital innovation? If you could please elaborate on that. This is for all of you, like whoever can feel free to please answer this. Like what all roles did you um, apply
Well,
for? Yeah, back in the day.
it's everything out there. I mean, if you just go to LinkedIn and look at for HEC MBA grads where they are, you will find them in all sorts of jobs. You know, from strategy to some people specialize in finance. You will find a lot of people working in marketing departments as well. And you don't even have to go farther than the top 5, 7 big um, digital consumer brands that you look at: Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, Uber. You will find that everybody is doing a very different kind of job. Some of them are very traditional, which are the specializations in the MBA as well, which is strategy, finance, operations, general management. But typically, what you get is, I would say, 50% influenced by what you have done in the past, and 50% influenced by what the company is looking for now. So if you come from a finance background, I know some people who also went to Amazon who were doing a cost benefit analysis of setting up new fulfillment centers, which is estimating how to find a land, how much it costs, how do you do the whole procurement thing, how does it cost. You can find very varied roles. And I don't know if the same situation currently or not. Probably Francisco can tell you about the latest companies. But there are some weird companies coming up as well. It's not weird, it's just esoteric. It was the shoe thing. So they wanted people who could really connect it with small battery technologies, with app making, so kind of niche stuff that you want to do it. And there is Red Cross as well. So it's a huge potential base out there, but it really depends upon what you have done, if you like it or not, and what kind of companies you want to work for.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Just maybe to complement on that, I agree with what Abhishek said, and I think one of the important things that you guys have to look at is companies look at your past experience, and they tech has a lot to do with solving problems for industry companies, right? So if we take as an example, my past background was in the airlines industry, right? And the services that we're creating today at Airbus are many of them focus on improving the operational efficiency of the airlines. So of course, making that link of what your previous experience was, and then if you can, through the MBA, upskill yourself on everything that has to do with digital innovation, digital transformation, then you connect those two stories, what your background, what the knowledge of the different industries, how they work, different companies, how they work, what their problems are, and if you bring that to the table for the companies, then you can definitely make the link, even if it's as a transition to strategy or as a transition to digital. It's important to take into consideration that, for example, the company that you're looking at, it's targeting a certain type of customers or a certain type of industries. And if you can bring something on the table for them in terms of your past experience or projects you've done or customers you've worked with, I think this makes a rounded story that you can tell. And there's a wide range of opportunities. I think it's more for you to do that funnel of selecting what it's let's say the story that you can build based on your previous experience, your upskilling during the MBA, and then what's your next step.
Maybe Karan has something to say about this as well.
No, honestly, I think Abhishek and Francisco have covered most of it. However, what I will say is that recruiting these days is not as structured and as logical as everyone thinks it is. It's
Right.
so much about timing, luck, whether the formatting on your CV is okay to pass ATS systems. There's so many things that go into it. So the most compelling thing that Francisco really touched upon this is highlighting really your transferable skills and telling that story. That storytelling is such a massive aspect of job search today. So it doesn't matter what you specialized in really, you pick a specialization that you want, that you feel that will work best towards your own upskilling and where you find good value, but at the same time, it's the story that you tell on your CV that's super important. So I would say if for tech companies, they have, I don't know about the others, but Uber at least is super chaotic when it comes to recruiting. And I know it's the same for Amazon, because I had 4 recruiters calling me about the same role, and they all were like, "No, don't talk to that recruiter, talk to me." And you're like, "Oh, it's a shit show." So everyone has their own quotas to fill. Everyone's going through their whole thing. So I would say focus on your CV, focus on your storytelling, on your personal branding, or what you put out there on LinkedIn, and raise that profile, and that's what's going to get you calls over anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, because so I was like reading this article where they were asking about what do MBA grads do in the tech industry. So it was written something on the lines of a lot of it actually goes to product or project management even now, but there are so many more avenues like tech consultancies or business administration roles and everything. So I think that is what the three of you have been trying to tell, that there are a lot of roles which you can apply to. Yeah, okay.
Within tech, a tech company is basically a full company that the end product is technical. But other than that, I mean, you know the domain that you want to work in. So if you like dealing with customers, then you go on a little bit on the customer service. If you like numbers, then you go a little bit more on the data science and analytics side. It's up to the person completely.
Right.
Right. Thank you, everyone. That was really insightful. That was a great start. The next thing we want to speak about is the specialization, different specializations that I see, but specifically the digital innovation one, because I think Francisco and Karan have done digital innovation, right? So Francisco, if we could start with you, could you tell us about your experience with the specialization and how, if at all, it helped you upskill on the digital domain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think my previous experience before the MBA was on strategy, commercial strategy, and operations. And one of my biggest interests when I arrived in the MBA was definitely on the digital domain, but I knew very little about it. In my previous role, yes, I had gone through some kind of digital transformation projects and things like that, but very limited, and always, let's say, in a domain that was very specific, right? So airlines in Latin America. So I wanted to get a full view of what actually the digital domain means and how it applies to other companies or other industries. So for me, it was very easy, right? So I was super interested in the digital innovation specialization. And what I wanted to do was that connection, right? So I come with a background, commercial strategy, operations. What can I do after if I leave innovation specialization? So I think the great thing about the specialization, I think Karan can say that too, is you work with real customers, right? So basically we engage in 2 projects with real customers, having to deliver a project and value at the end of these 2 projects. And all the frameworks that you apply during that process, all the terminology that you learn during that process, you understand how the digital domain works inside these 2 companies, and even some of the frameworks I use them today in my job, right? So there are several things that you start to upskill yourself. Also, the fact that, for example, in my groups, there were people that were more tech savvy and very experienced in digital. I was not, so I was able to leverage my my partners or my the people that were in the same team as I was, to upskill myself and learn a lot. I think it was a great experience and journey in that sense as well. And well, the outcome is that, as Karan mentioned, I was able, to tell a story on my CV. I wanted to transition into digital roles, but I had no experience before. But I started to do, okay, I've done this, I've solved these problems in the past. Then I go to the fact that I'm upskilling myself in the
Yeah.
MBA for the digital transformation. Then I talk about the 2 projects that I've delivered something right in digital, and then I can tell a better story. So it's about building as well. And I think this is an exercise that you guys have to do very early in the process. I don't know, it depends on the January intake and September intake when you have to take the decision of the specialization. But I think it's very, very important for you guys to do this reflection and decide what maybe you have 2 or 3 paths that you put together, and you say, maybe I go path 1, path 2, path 3, but you have 3 options, right? You kind of know what could potentially be. So yeah, I think and that's what helped me a lot in the end. You see, the outcome is that I was able to talk during the interviews with a lot of knowledge that I didn't have before, and also I was telling a better story, and in the end I had a compelling story for Airbus, and especially for the digital and growth department, right?
Thank you. That's amazing. It looks like it had a direct impact on, you know, the career path that you wanted to take, the specialization itself. And, you know, that brings me to my next question. How selective is this specialization? Because I assume a lot of people want to join it and there are a limited number of spots. So is there like a criteria over there?
Yeah, there is. It's kind of a funny story, and maybe Karen can explain as well later. But it was the first. We were the first first ones to take the digital innovation specialization. So it was the first test, right, in terms of the curriculum, and in terms of how do we balance out this going to class versus, you know, developing a project and delivering at the end. What type of companies should we engage as HEC, and what are the best, let's say, to extract more value for the students, but for the company as well. So at the beginning, I think we were only 30, if I remember well. And then for the next cohort, like it worked so well with us that for the next ones, it was a nightmare. It was like 70 spots. Even if they duplicated the capacity, it was a war. Like everyone wanted to go into the digital innovation specialization, and it was such a great feedback from our experience that it was crazy, right? So I think it grew. I can't remember exactly how they did it for the next cohort, but I remember they increased the capacity. But definitely every time you apply for a specialization, I recommend that you talk to the director of the specialization. And of course, you need to put together kind of a dossier or a story why you're applying for that specialization, right?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for that. Karan, so you work in big tech, right? And we've heard so much about Station F being like the ecosystem for technology companies in Paris. Can you speak a little bit about Station F, how it was connected to this specialization? And maybe something about the project you did during your time there.
So Station Life is really cool. You'll get, since HEC is quite involved and HEC has an accelerator there, you probably will have opportunities to visit Station F. And my advice would be to definitely take on those opportunities, because it's a great place. And the way it's set up really fosters and promotes innovation. And it really is a great way to learn by seeing, by observation, and looking at what everyone else is doing as well. Of course, you have all the super cool facilities. Really nice restaurant, by the way. And we a few times. But yeah, I think the way it's connected is that we have a few people who come in to lecture. Francisco, I don't know if you remember the guy's name, but he was one of the guys who was helping us with the projects with Rakuten and the other companies. And so these are the guys who are very involved in helping companies at Station F. So they really know about building good decks, using data science very effectively, understanding what digital innovation is. Because I think early on, and like Francisco said, we were the first cohort to actually do digital innovation. And at that point, one thing we noticed was that there's no real definition for what digital transformation or digital innovation. There's no set definition. It varies from company to company what level of digitalization they want to do. So for like when I did a 6-month project at Disney, and over there digital transformation was literally moving from sheets of paper to Excel, and that for them. So yeah, it's true. I mean, that's just how it is. So yeah, it doesn't have to be like super cool, like data lake and all of that. But the experience you get at Station F, we went to Station F only a couple of times for the specialization, and we did only a few interactions with some of the startups. Which one was it, Francisco? I think one was the space-filled one, and the other one was the one Garant Me.
Garant Me, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
an HEC incubation, right?
Yeah,
Garant
both
Me.
of them are HEC incubation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we went there and we tried to sort of brainstormed with them one day about some of the issues that they were facing. But I think more than actually delivering, what was really cool about that was the process. And it was, very, very quick, agile thinking, decisions on your feet. And that's something that's really helped me a lot. More than theoretical knowledge, it's about being as fast, agile, and strategic as possible. I know the industry that I came from, luxury, moves at a glacial pace. So everything is thought out years in advance. Old people just like so it's true. But so moving from there to big tech, it was a big change, and I think the digital innovation specialization really helped us move in that space.
That's amazing. Moving on to internships, I just want to quickly touch up upon the kind of internships that come to HEC. So Abhishek, you recruited with Schneider eventually. Could you just give us an overview of their presence on campus, what kind of internships they offer, and how best to convert that internship into a full-time offer?
Sure. Let me take a step back and tell you that when all can you do the internships. So because I joined in September 2014, I finished core 1, I think by December, core 2 by Jan to March, yeah. And this might have changed, right? These two guys can deliver the latest one. But during the core 3, or the electives phase, we had an option to start doing an internship with the company. Now I think you can do an MBA project at that time. So I did my first internship with Allianz, the insurance guys. And I did April, May, June, July, August, I think 4 or 5 months. And you will not realize, but you can learn a lot of cool concepts and a lot of frameworks in the MBA. But what you learn is basically a lot of common sense and empathy to apply those frameworks in a very multinational context. So, and as Karan was mentioning, even for these guys, the digital transformation project that I did at that time was basically building macros. And that was saving them per person, I think 2 to 3 days a month. Wow. Which if you look at in revenue terms, it's a mind-blowing number. Why is nobody building this? So that was the first, and I didn't do anything extraordinary, right? I just went in there, I built a lot of cool Excel dashboards, macros, automated a lot of their work. And by the end of it, before my 4th term started, which is the specialization phase, so they had offered me a full-time job. But I realized that, this is not happening. I need something a bit more challenging. Then during the specialization phase, I actually didn't apply to Schneider, but I got a call from them that, MBA builds a CV book. I don't know if they still build it or not. They sent it out to companies. So Schneider called me from that CV book. Do you want to come and do an internship with us here? It's like, okay, why not? It was the same old stuff, right? So I come from a strategy background. I've done 6 years of it. There were some things new, which is the peculiarity of the industry. I'm not from energy management industry. Most of my projects in my pre-MBA life were pharma industry related. So, but it was basically doing what I knew and doing it really well because, in France, how you get most of the jobs is you do an internship, they like you, they keep you. So it's like a probation period for you.
Right.
If they don't like you, you back home. So I did that one, finished it well, published my report for DHEC credits as well. And by the end of it, I mean, by fourth month, during my 6-month internship, they already started talking about, okay, let's start negotiating. When can you join? How much for you can join and stuff like that. So it's a very organic process. It's sometimes a bit of luck as well, right? If you get stuck with the person who really wants to screw you around, it's a different thing. But if you are comfortable, or if you are comfortable in taking up the challenges that they throw at you, and you prove that at least you can do a decent enough job that they expect from an HEC MBA, good chance of converting.
Right.
So that was basically the story at Schneider.
Yeah. And language was never a challenge for you. I mean, I'm assuming that you don't speak French.
Oh, not at all. Oh, still not at all. It's been 5 years, 6 years.
Right.
That's the fun part about taking an international role, right? Because I work for the corporate.
Right.
I don't work for the French operations, but because the headquarters are in France, so the corporate is also here.
Right.
And I would say about 20-30% of my work is with Hong Kong, and 20-30% is with US.
Right.
The rest is spread across Europe. So obviously in day-to-day life, when you're going out with your teammates to pubs and dinners and stuff, it's good if you can communicate so that you are not causing them a discomfort. Because it's an effort for a lot of French people to speak in English when they're drunk. But I mean, there are rules, but you have to really find them. And the thing is, you have to create a value during an internship or your first interaction, which is worth more than them making an effort to hire a non-French speaker. So the rent has to be worth it.
That has to be worth it. Yeah.
So when you deliver a story, or when you do an initial project with them, you have to deliver 200% because you are not a native person. You have obviously cultural differences, language differences, way of working differences, and all that has to be shadowed by your effort in the project or your interactions.
Right. Thanks, Abhishek. All right, Karan, I want to quickly touch up on recruitment in the tech industry. So, what we hope to understand is how structured is the process when it comes to companies like, let's say, Uber, Google, Facebook, and the likes. So, from what I understand, European business schools give you a lot of visibility and opportunities. But at the end of the day, you really have to go out, network on your own, find your way into the company. So on that note, could you share a little bit about your Uber journey, how the opportunity came by, what role career services played, and,
Sure. I think one of the good things is that HEC is increasingly more visible. So we get a lot more tech companies coming to campus. So for Uber, that's basically what happened. They came to campus and they were recruiting. And I didn't get recruited immediately because I kept in touch with the recruiter, Sebastian, who's still there, by the way. But yeah, it's, they give you a lot of visibility, and you can just talk to the recruiters when they come. Microsoft was also there at some point, as Amazon comes in a very big way. And I would say the best strategy for tech companies is to network with alumni, because tech companies in particular value referrals quite a lot because you get so many applicants for Uber.
Yeah.
I mean, for my role, once I came in, I saw there were, I think, like 13 or 1400 applications. So that's, it's a very competitive market. But I was referred by one of my classmates, and so she was like, "Hey, I'll refer you," and that really, and the thing is that I can back it up during interviews. So the interview process is the same, but
Right.
at least you get that initial sort of
Right.
entry into the company, which honestly is sometimes the toughest part. So I would say reach out to alums. Alums, by and large, in my experience at least, have been really helpful. Everyone is always happy to put in a word or tips, give you advice. Yeah, and then it depends also on the company. I know Microsoft and Google are a little more structured. Amazon is growing so quickly that that it's a bit tough, and so it's a little more chaotic. Uber is complete and total chaos. Nobody knows what they're doing. So, I mean, to be honest, when I came in, it was fantastic. I was hiring for someone for my team, and I reached out to HR, and the process is complicated, and then is 4 or 5 different people involved, and ultimately nobody has any idea what they're doing. So. I'm sure if I look inside some of the other tech companies, pretty much the same. Because some of my colleagues told me, "Hey, what are you surprised at? It's the same everywhere." So, and they were from Facebook, so it's the same. So, yeah, these are fast-growing industries. So, hopefully, it settles down over time. That's why Microsoft is much better than some of the others. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Sure.
Amrita, we can pass over to you for the next section.
Yeah, the next section is about cracking the interviews. So what we hear from now from Abhishek is like most of them will, if you work and really hard, you get your internships converted. But what about the day when you're facing the interviews? So if you can, like, if starting from Francisco, elaborate on what were the different interview rounds that you faced, how HEC helped you prepare for these rounds, and if you like can tell us if you remember which source you helped you the most. Like, did you have to study, or where you gave an interview, did you have to like prepare for some like I've heard that they give you some like interview rounds where you have to solve problems as such or case solving as such. So what exactly was your source of preparation? Also, like, was HCC enough, or did you have to like hire a separate recruiter for that, like a separate recruiter guy who approaches you with all these jobs or stuff?
Okay, so I think.
Remember the full question? I forgot halfway what was happening.
It was a long question.
Basically, we want to know.
I'm just kidding.
No, it's okay. We'll go through it in little parts if you want. So the first one for the preparation, I think in my case, what worked the best was preparing with my peers. And basically what I did was to interview, having my peers interviewing me. And I think it's an important process when you want to, if you have, peers that previously work in the, let's say aerospace industry or in digital or in something that you're interested in, that the job that you're applying to fits kind of with what they were doing before, or they know the details of it. So I think you guys really need to leverage your peers. I think this is great because in order to understand well the different type of questions that can come, if you understand well the job description, so this is a constant exchange, and you can gain a lot of knowledge very fast leveraging your peers. and yeah, basically do mock interviews all the time with your peers. Select the people, and always try to select people, someone that can play, the good cop, and the one that can play, the bad cop, and can put you under pressure as well. Very very critic, because you will face this type of interviews as well, right? So they try to push you to your limits to see how you react. Then there are a lot of resources from the Career Center. There are workshops. I think every month you have to fulfill a minimum amount of credits of this type of preparation for careers stuff. There are good workshops, so look at that as well. I think I did one of two that were very insightful in terms of how to prepare well the story, and how to prepare yourself for different types of questions. And regarding the different the different type of interviews, I think I went through a lot of different type of interviews. So and processes. So for example, it's very common now to have to prepare a presentation. So you have to prepare a presentation, deliver a presentation, and then they do the interview. Some others are doing kind of, this small kind of GMAT. So if you guys think that you were over the GMAT, no, you will see a lot of assessment from the companies that they're still putting some questions on problem solving and questions GMAT like, where you have to go through these assessments before you move forward in the process for an interview. And I think another type of interview, let me remember. No, I think those are kind of, but there are multiple rounds. Expect a lot of rounds of interview. For me at Airbus, were 3 rounds of interviews, and they're escalating the level of seniority of who's going to be your boss, also, so your direct report, and then so on. And also I think, yeah, I did a couple of interviews for some for Dubai airports, were like 4 rounds of interviews. Microsoft, same thing. I think 3 or 4 rounds of interviews. So expect a lot of rounds of interviews, because the process, I don't know with the current situation if this is going to change, but I think it's going to be at least 3 or 4, and expect some sort of type of assessment first, to pass to the next level.
Okay. And so, like, again, a question to Karan, because you have a flying license. So, do you think this is like a very asked question amongst all our peers, someone who is from a non-tech background, and even like Francisco, you have an engineering degree like before you did your MBA, right? So how difficult is it for someone from a non-tech background, or strategy or operations background, to break into this field? So let's say when Uber or Amazon is hiring, how much of your previous experience do they consider? Um, and or
Yeah.
don't have like any experience? Is it still possible?
Yeah, again, it comes down to highlighting your transferable skills. So they are looking for a certain set of skills that will fulfill the role. And if you can bring out that aspect of your CV that says, "Oh, this is the skill that I have, and this is the skill gap that you have," and so it's a good match. It doesn't matter where your experience is purely. So I would say it's very important to tailor your CV very specifically to the role, so that that aspect is highlighted. And that's something that I did during my job search as well, which was, and this is something that the Career Center is actually quite good at, which is helping you customize your CV for different roles.
Okay. Oh, they do that. Okay, that's nice. Okay, cool. So nice. Abhishek, so what would be like that one special tip you could give to people who are going ahead for their interviews? Um, what would be at the top of your mind? What should they prepare for?
Well, I don't know if HEC guys have introduced you to the three pillars that they always talk about, right?
Not yet.
Geography, function, and industry.
Okay.
So they say that if you can change all three, you have done the biggest task of it all.
Yeah.
But you are coming from a different geography. You want to have a job in Europe or France, and you want to change your industry and your function. Um, I would say the things get relatively much easier if you just change two of it or one of it. So if you are coming from, let's say, if you have a very heavy finance background and you're coming from a Latin American country, so when you come to, let's say, I don't know where the Facebook headquarters are, but you want to work for Facebook, so you're changing your industry, but you can still keep your function same. And that gives you a lot of transferable skills, which makes you better than most of the participants right away. So because the guy there who's recruiting recognizes your brand of the school, so you already have credibility. They know you are really good at the function that you're coming from. What you're changing is just an industry. So instead of doing it, for example, for Saab Miller, instead of a beer manufacturer, you want to do it for a technology company. So do not think of it as making into technology a huge leap, because I'm going to take a blatant generalization here. You guys are not going to go there and start innovating something. You guys are going to go there and manage something, uh, be it the very standardized functions, which is strategy or operations or sales or account development, all things related to, I don't know, digital marketing, for example. Uh, if you wanted to work for the code base of Facebook, you coming to HEC and going there is a very long route. There are better ways to do it, right? It's not, probably I'm generalizing it too much, but no company has any, such a big barrier if you already are knowledgeable about a function and you want to do similar stuff over there. So I would say you should focus more on that. What value can you bring with that function? How can you showcase that value for a new type of a company, a new geography? And after that, it's very generalized, standardized stuff, right? You do puzzles and you do essay writing competition and so on and so forth. Um, After having 5 years of experience cracking GMAT, cracking HEC, I think we are talking about very small things here. The bigger thing is to showcase the value you can bring, the difference you have. Because if you keep on struggling with, oh, where do I go and prepare for math problems? You should probably solve those issues out before you start applying for companies. Because when you're talking to them, the key hiring person would not look at your math problems. It's just a cutoff that if you can solve whatever 30 problems out of 15, 5 minutes, your IQ is good enough to go there. So that stuff you should probably be brushing upon a lot in your core 1 and 2 on the side. Uh, and then if you want a very specialized skill like case cracking for consulting, then obviously you should download all these case books from all the B schools, probably join all the case cracking forums online. There are hundreds of resources, but they are very specialized skills only for such industries. I hope I didn't confuse you guys more.
No, actually, that was quite helpful. It was what we were looking for from all of you. Okay, so that was about how the interview thingy works and how we can bring value to it. Next is about role maturity. So this is something like, if I put it simply, what does role maturity look like in each of your industry? Rather like, where do you, it's a very interview like question, but I have to ask this. Uh, what do you see yourself like in 10 years, or maybe you have seen your seniors who have been in the same area for 10 years, and what kind of path are they taking now? What do you see them doing? Feel free to take this question up. Anybody?
Francisco, go for it.
Come on, Abhishek.
I'm
It
just going
seems
to
like
be.
you want to take this one.
Yeah. I'm just going to be a spoil sport and give you an answer before these guys give you actual sensible answers. Uh, a lot of where you end up depends upon where you are at the right moment at the right time. So if you see some of your seniors going to the same standardized companies, where they end up is a function of what the industry was at that time,
Okay.
and where you end up it depends upon where you want to go. For example, in Schneider, when I joined, I think 1.5 years after I joined, they launched a leadership development program, which is, you know, the programs which you hear at many companies, which you join directly from the campus. And somebody from my top management team nominated me to it. I did some courses with INSEAD, and uh, it's a whole. Now I have a mentor and getting further coaching on the leader for the company. So when I joined, I was probably thinking about how can I become the head of strategy for this company, in 5, 10, 15 years. But whatever happened throughout the process in the past 2.5 years, my goalpost has suddenly changed to be how can I be the head of Europe or the CEO of this company. So you can make plans, but it's basically what kind of opportunities you grab. You should have obviously a goalpost that you're targeting towards. But a lot of it is what opportunities come your way, what do you grab, and how deviated it is from your original goal and how comfortable you are with it. But most of the positions you take from the MBA, the end game is always to either become head of the function or to head a company with its entirety.
Okay. Okay. So like continuing with that, now what does the job market look in EU or the Schengen countries for us who would probably graduate with specializations in strategy, digital innovation, operations? Karan, if you can start with that.
I'd say that you guys in particular are poised to graduate at a good time, because I think you'll be graduating in end of 2021, maybe mid 2022, and that's a relatively good time, because I think general projections say that that over the next year the economy is going to sort of be quite low, as governments stop cropping up through pumping in money via the Fed or the use of the ECB, to support unemployment programs. So as that money dries up, the economy should slide. But as we're seeing with the stock market, we have no idea. It's very, very far removed from reality, which is good for me, but it's not good overall. But so yeah, I think by the time you graduate, should be the worst should be over. I mean, it's no guarantee of that, but it should be, and you'll see things picking up. And actually, the good thing is, but the focus I know is going to be a lot more on optimization, on automation, on digital innovation, and if you sort of focus a little bit more on that, at least if you're inclined towards tech, that can be a great sort of value proposition for these companies. So I would say my recommendation would be to even if you get some foothold or some understanding of data science, that can be really helpful. That's something that I miss. I mean, people ask me about R and Python, and I'm like, I have no idea. So, I'm not a data scientist, but that said, I'm okay with data, so that really helps me a lot. So, and if I was slightly better, it would be even more. So that's something, again, that's a recommendation that I would give you guys.
Data science is like really hot nowadays. So yeah. for
Data is
sure.
awesome.
Yeah. So like Abhishek just talked about the leadership programs. Are there rotational leadership programs in Uber, Airbus as well? And like, how do people get into that? What is the whole thing about?
So I'll let Francisco talk about Airbus, where I know there is a graduate program, but in Uber, they were planning to launch a rotational leadership program. There is one for undergraduates. There's not one for MBAs. But they were planning to do it. I think the aim was to launch it in 2021. I don't know if that is still on track. I'll have to check and get back to you guys. But I'm not sure. But that said, with rotational programs, it's about applying and building that story and networking and trying to get some connect, some references that can help you stand out a little bit.
Yeah, so Airbus has a rotational program every 2 years. That was bad luck for me because I was joining Airbus in 2019, and this was the year for the rotational program 2020, but it has been delayed due to the situation. So what I think is that they will push it for next year or even the year after. So what I believe, guys, is that you're going to be graduating at a very good time, as Karen was saying. I think for the aerospace industry, the growth in the best case scenario is going to be 2022, 2023. So that means that right now the industry is downsizing, but it will grow again when you guys will be graduating. So I think it's a good thing that you're studying while we're going through the crisis. It's the best thing to do, to study at the time of the crisis, and then you enter when the economic growth comes back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think for that particular program, again, I think it's you will rotate from finance to strategy to production. So it's very, very complete. You really get a holistic view of the different or the main functions of the company. So this type of programs, of course, prepare you in a very, very complete way. And after that, of course, you land a very, very interesting position. So these are programs that are very interesting. I know many other companies have programs like this.
And I think Abhishek was just saying that he was in the leadership program. So yeah.
Right. Thank you guys again. We're just moving to the final segment of today's session. And the next question is, we're slightly moving away from HEC now. We're talking about how the pandemic has affected your company. And the point of this exercise is to understand where we're going in the next few years, what kind of roles open up, what kind of roles retire. So Francisco, if we could start with you, companies like Airbus and Boeing,
Sure.
your bottom lines have been hit massively. So what are they doing differently?
So,
What's the plan to survive now?
yeah, so I think Karan touched on that. I think companies are focused on two things. In our industry is basically to gain operational efficiency. Of course, we need to be more efficient if you want to survive. And this is a big focus for us right now. But on the other hand, I think some of the companies of the aerospace industry are looking at this time as an opportunity as well, to do some R&D, right? So reallocating some people whenever you have to do the operational efficiency. They are reallocating some people to do some R&D and to be prepared whenever the cycle will start ramping up again and growing. We could be potentially ready with new technologies and things like this. So I think it's, if you ask me the question of the industry for the next 2 years, it's going to be zero growth, right? So when it's zero growth, of course, you guys, you want to land a job where you want to get, a good signing bonus, that your performance is attached to a yearly bonus as well, that it's going to be super aligned with the performance of the company, right?
Right.
So for the next 2 years, you guys already know the answer, right? It's going to be zero growth. But whenever you guys will graduate, this thing will start to ramp up. So you need to be alert and start looking at who are those companies who really, really were able or did a good job at improving their operational efficiency. But not only that, that took an advantage of this time to invest on some R&D and some innovation. Of course, not going to be the same budget size as before, but that are able to come up a bit, let's say, stronger or with some differential after the crisis. So I think that's the focus, and well, let's hope this thing is over sooner than later. And I truly believe that companies like Airbus or Boeing will still be there. It's just a matter of really taking care of this situation and putting focus on the right things.
Right. Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. And Abhishek, you mentioned earlier that you work in a global strategy role and your team is spread out across geographies. Do you see this model of structuring a team, becoming more commonplace because of the pandemic? Do you think teams would be more spread out as we go forward?
Yeah, I mean they were already getting spread out, and this is my very personal opinion that a pandemic or a such large global event does not bring about a substantial change, but it accelerates the changes already happening. So there was already a trend of globally, working remotely, working from home, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this has just accelerated because now you were forced to experiment with such models. That do you need such big towers in downtown where the real estate is so expensive? Or can you have a smaller office where the people who are only required to come? Or can you do a rotational visit? Like everybody goes to office only 2 to 3 days a week. So about spread out teams, I think that's a very company by company dependent issue. Many companies, for example, tech companies can do stuff like that. A lot of other companies where there's a legal requirement or you have a very confidentiality agreements with the clients and stuff, they still have to work from the office. So of course it will accelerate the trends of spread out teams and stuff like that, but it will not just shake the whole world that from tomorrow nobody is selling office chairs anymore. That kind of stuff doesn't happen, but every company that you want to work for is typically a global company,
right,
which will have very spread out teams, because Asia is a huge market. North America is of course the bedrock where most of the companies make most of the revenue, and Europe is a very important market as well. Right. So when you see large companies with bigger teams, you do realize that they have put in at least 2 or 3 of these geographies at any given point in time. So you cover all the time zones.
Right.
And
right.
I think that's the kind of the trend that will always carry on, that you need to cover all the time zones.
Right. Thank you. Karan, would you like to add something to that? Is Uber going to change its business model or something because of what's going on?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of change going on because there's a lot of long-term strategic decisions that the company has to go through. Because as both Abhishek and Francisco were saying, today the way we change internally, number one, how can we reduce our footprint to reduce costs? And it's the exact same thing. How do we reduce the amount of office space we need? Because it's cheaper for the company, to not rent space and give each employee an allowance to buy a nice chair or big screen. But but also not provide so much food and snacks and staff and all of that. So that it really drastically reduces costs. But also, as a company, a big part of our business came from rights, and today I think it's a huge chunk is people commuting to the office. Now, if those commutes are no longer there, then even when the recovery happens, whenever it does, we might see a big part of it never coming. So, that forces us to ask tough questions. And you see, we fired 7,000 people. It's a huge number of people that we let go. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's more coming. So, I probably will be working somewhere else. Who knows? It's not great for morale either. Honestly, I didn't like it because there was what 4 to 6 weeks where I had no idea whether I had a job or not. I had no idea whether something's going to happen. The projects that I was working on were deprioritized because do we even need these things? So it's a time of huge change, and it's sort of forced the company to be a little bit more agile, even more than it already is. So yeah, it's interesting times. But I think we need to you have to and strategize very effectively and forecast as well as you can, and match the company to and change the business model if required. So, for example, we're doing things like Uber Works, which is marketplace for gig economy workers, focusing a little bit more on eats, on automation. So freight is a really cool, line of business for Uber where margins are good and the product is great. So deep that's like a fundamental business model change is prioritizing rights and trying to diversify.
Thank you. All right, so we're on to the last question of the day, and this topic was added due to popular demand, I would say. So Karan, if you could answer this, do you have any tips for folks who plan to bring their partners along to campus? Because there's a lot of confusion around this, and it would be great if you could.
It's a tough one, and I tell you what we did, and I'll tell you what some of the advice that we got when we were coming in, and then it's up to everyone to make their own choices. But so I was married when I still am to the same person.
Thank you for clarifying.
I realized that came across wrong. So so my wife and I initially, I really wanted my wife to be with me on campus immediately. But she had her own career, her own job. So so she was like, okay, but what am I going to do on campus? So we spoke to a few alums, and we also got conflicting feedback, but it really depends on your relationship and your what you need. So for me and for my wife, it became slightly clearer over time that the MBA keeps you busy, and you're always out and about. When you're not in classes or doing assignments, you're talking to your friends. You're partying in P-bar or you're doing activity, you're playing a sport, something. That keeps you busy. And I know people who came to campus with their partners. Partners don't have that much to do. And Julian Josas is really not Paris. It's very far away from Paris. So it's not like they have to do. And unfortunately, on the partner visa, you don't really have the opportunity to work that easily. So that's another downside. So you only, I think, allowed to work 20 hours a week.
Because a lot of people have this question like, can my partner be in the HEC campus and work from home, like for a different country? So
you can. It's a bit tricky when it comes to in terms of the immigration laws. So I would say that if you get paid in your home account, then it makes it much easier. But if you get paid in your French account, then that's a big problem. and that's when French taxation and immigration law makes it much more difficult. If you get paid in your home country account, it's a lot easier. So I know some people who work remotely from campus, but even so, apartments on campus are not exactly palaces; they are shoeboxes. So it's a bit tough to have multiple people there at the same time and then working. I mean, ultimately, it is what we like. So what we did was that the first year I came alone. So my wife came, of course, a couple of times to visit. But the second year, um, I moved to Paris, and that's when my wife came and joined me in Paris. Because once you're living in the city, it's so much easier. There's a lot of things to do. At that point, you also have your set group of friends, um, and you're much more comfortable in the beginning. The first 6 to 8 months is a discovery phase. You're really very keen and curious to find out about your classmates, and also honestly, networking with your classmates is it should be the number one priority. Making friends with everyone, talking to everyone, that should be your number one priority. So I a lot of partners, they get bored waiting 6 to 8 hours a day, and so when you come back from classes, you feel, that they're waiting for you. So then you spend more time with them, because of course you should, but at the same time, it does lead to a lot of conflict. And almost every single couple that I've seen sort of went through some aspect of this, because staying on campus is extremely boring. There's really not that much to do. So unless you like cornfields and like, seriously, when you walk and you only get a few months of good weather, the rest of the time it's freezing cold. So, and to get to Paris, it's a trek. So it takes you 1.5 hours. Yeah, so I would say get your to campus. If the two of you really gel well, and you love being with each other all the time. My wife and I don't like that so much. No, I
Summarizing,
kid.
MBA is not only a test of your mental agility, perseverance, but also of your relationship. And
In a
it's
way, yeah, absolutely.
expected to come with flying colors always.
Yeah, it's
All
tough.
right.
It's tough for partners on campus. Honestly, if my wife was doing the MBA and I was on, I would have killed myself, because it's so boring. And like, what do you do? It's tough. And the MBAs are all talking about their classes and funny stories about what the professor said and blah blah blah. And the partners are basically sitting there, and eh, there's a small group. I don't know if it's still there, but the Partners Club was something that we formed under the council. And I mean, I funded them as much as I could, but ultimately, what do you do? There's not that much to do. So, yeah, it's a tough question. There's no clear answer. It's no easy answer. It depends on what you guys decide for yourselves.
Okay. Got it. So like trans, I think we have understood from Karan what like networking with peers and having a very good understanding with your partner is probably the tip you would give. Francisco, what would be the tip which you would give to us for the incoming batch at HEC? And then I will move on to Abhishek.
Okay, I think in general, start early, guys. I think you will have, especially people arriving in September, that you guys want to go into consulting or looking for summer internships. Be ready. I know you arrive in the MBA, and the first months is getting to know each other, understanding how it works, a lot of partying, a lot of fun, but also save some time to prepare yourself to understand what's your calendar of applications. Start to network with people, and I think Karan and Abhishek mentioned it. Alumnus, this is a key aspect. Reach to the people, have a coffee in Paris with them. These people, or a video conference, whatever. you know, they're very responsive, the HSA alumni. So I think it's good to save some time at the beginning, prepare yourselves, understand what is the calendar for the next 6 months, and start doing the exercise of talking to people, networking, understanding how the different processes work. And I think this is you will see that this will pay a big reward in the end, because you will be well prepared. You will have enough time to do all the things that you have to do. And also, if you're in a kind of exploring mode, that will give you enough time, you know, to do your reflection, and explore a lot of paths, right? So I think that summer internship, that it's I don't know, 2 months and a half or 3 months, it depends. It's something where you can risk, you know, you can take a lot of risks if you want to try something really new that has nothing to do with your background, and you manage to land an internship on something that you think might be interesting. Take that risk with that internship and try. Maybe you like it. Maybe you find out it's not what you like. You don't fit in the culture, or the company does not have the strategy that you thought they had. But you can take risks, right? So I think my 2 advices will be: prepare early, save some time for that, and also try and take some risks, because it's a year of reflection and to try new things. So take the most out of it.
So, nice. Francisco, there is one question from the live audience. I think this is an apt time to ask that, because we're talking about internships. You're from the Jan batch, if that's right. So, right? I mean,
Yeah. So, sorry. No. It's just the audio cut a little bit. You were asking me if I were from the January batch, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So, were like the internships, what was the cycle of internships for you when you applied to like, I'm assuming like you sat for internships for tech companies, because we were told that tech companies have internships in the December to Jan cycle. So how did it work out for you? Like, what is that cycle?
Yeah, I can say of how it works for the January intake. Maybe Karan or Javi check for the September, because I don't know how well it works for the other intake. But you arrive in January basically, and there are still a lot of opportunities and a lot of openings for doing an internship in that summer. But it's tight, the schedule. But for example, for the September people, it's much better, because they can start doing the process in October, November, when all the openings are published, and they have much more time to prepare for that. That's the first chance that you have to do an internship as a January intake. And then we have the possibility of finish everything by December of that year, right? And then take our electives online, which will free up the time to do maybe a 6-month internship. So it depends how you want to play it. For example, I arrived in January, and when I was looking for summer internships, it was already too late. So I didn't do it, and I regret it now. I should have maybe tried something at that time. And then you have another opportunity, which is in the cycle of October, November, start to see if something works out from January to June, taking electives, or online electives, or you will finish as a January intake in May, right? So it would say April. So from April on, maybe you finish the MBA and you can take a 5-month internship, which is what I did. I finished in April all my classes, and first day of May I was here in Toulouse, starting my 5-month internship with Airbus. So also those deadlines, depending on the company, are negotiable. If it touches the summer, some of companies in France, they look for 6-month internship. Some others are flexible, so it really depends the industry and the company. But what I would say is take risk with the small internship of 2-3 months, and if you want to do a 5 months or 6-month one, then it will arrive later in the cycle. Probably you have done your exploration and your reflection, and you're more clear on what you want to do, and maybe you can go with another company much more clear and take a 5-6 month. Some other people got already job offers in January, So they took the online electives and went for full-time jobs. So it really depends, but I will say you have 2 windows to play with, which is the summer, and then from January on, what you do.
Okay, understood. That was much needed because a lot of us had confusion about how it figures out for the January batch, and you explained it in a lot of detail. Thank you, Francisco. So Abhishek, coming back to you, what is that one great tip which you would give to us for us to succeed, and especially in this time?
Well, Francisco gave a very good and complete answer. I don't have much to add to it, but it's just a personal thought from my side. Most of you guys have been working continuously since you graduated from the undergrad for 5, 7, 8 years. This is the first time you guys are taking a break. So, give yourself some time to explore what you want to do in life. For all the applications, and this is just how I do it. I would sit down right now, look at which companies I want to apply to in November, find out their previous years, I don't know, the essays they want you to write, and write all of them before joining. So that I have time in September and October to know all my classmates and have a beer with at least half of them and understand what have been their experiences in terms of companies, industries, cultures. Because when I went in, I knew that I want to move towards the green energy side. That really fascinated me. But how to select the company and green energy, it's a huge term. You want to narrow it down where you can apply. Uh, you really have to talk to a lot of people, which is called networking in a sense. So when I went in with the thought that, okay, fine, if you want a job, you'll get it any day. It's not that bad if you're going to HEC anyway. But for me, I was working for 7 years before this, so I took some time off to just party, understand my peers, learn what each of them did, how they did, why do they love an industry, and why do they hate an industry. I really don't need to work in 20 industries to know what is lovable and hateable about each of them. So I think that was my strategy, and I really liked it because it worked out well in the end. I had my share of fun as well. I had my share of traveling as well. And I applied to most of the companies where I wanted to and talked to the people in those companies to see if they're a good fit or not.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So basically, do your thing, enjoy your life, as well as apply where you see that you can fit into very well.
Yeah. I mean, uh, if you want to take too much stress, you can take too much stress. If you want to take medium level stress, or if you want to take zero, everything works fine. Uh,
Yeah.
the objective is you should know where you want to end up eventually.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, guys. We're almost done with our time. It's been an incredible session. Thank you for sharing your experiences and giving back to the community. I'm sure everyone watching has learned a lot today. And as mentioned before, this session will be going up on YouTube, so it's all the advice is going to stay out there for all the future HEC batches. So thank you again. And for everyone watching today, we have the final session in the series next Sunday. That's on entrepreneurship. So stay tuned for that as well. Yep. Thank you, guys. This has been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Karan.
you guys
Very
for
much
putting
for
this together.
organizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck, everyone.
Very good.
Thank you.
It's
Bye.
perfect.
Bye all.
All right. Good luck to all of you. And yeah, please do stay in touch. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn at any point and connect with me. And yeah, let us know how your stories are going.